Здравствуйте, подписчики и зрители канала, с вами рубрика «Давайте подумаем», и мы продолжаем прохождение игры Shadow of Templars. В предыдущей серии нам удалось узнать, кто такой Марк и где он лежит. Так что давайте пойдем к нему в палаты.
As I turned the corner, I saw the source of the hellish noise which echoed through the corridors. It was an industrial polishing machine with an odd-looking guy in tow.
Да, парень воистину забавный.
Hello.
What's that?
I said hello.
Oh, hiya.
I'd like to talk to you for a minute.
That's what I thought you said. Don't look so down in the mouth. No matter how bad things seem, I never let life get on top of me.
Oh, yeah? What's your secret?
Why, it's easy. All you have to do is smile and whistle this little tune.
You know what? If you start whistling, I'll bust you in the teeth.
It's a deal.
Так, расскажи-ка нам, друг, про...
Have you seen any unsavory characters lurking about in the corridors?
No, sir, I haven't. But I've got nothing to worry about. What's that, Mr. Shiny? You'd take good care of the rascals, I'll bet you would. With a friend like him, I've no fear of oppressors.
It must be a great comfort.
He is.
Что?
Would Mr. Shiny be your polishing machine by any chance?
Please, don't call him that. He's more of a friend than a machine. I've had Mr. Shiny for 3 years, and he's never let me down once.
Так, даже не знаю, что сказать.
How come you got so attached to a polishing machine?
I asked you not to call him that. He's got a name, you know.
Yeah, Mr. Shiny. It's just that...
You think it's odd, don't you? I don't mind. The rest of the staff think I'm twisted. I heard them snorking behind my back when I gave Mr. Shiny his weekly pull through.
Да, по-моему, ты такой и есть.
Do you know where I'd find a patient called Marquet?
No, I'm not allowed on the wards with Mr. Shiny.
Ну ладно. Так.
Do you recognize this powder?
Is that dandruff?
No way.
It sure looks like dandruff.
It's plaster.
Ugh.
По-моему, с точностью да наоборот должно быть.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
Who is it?
That's what I'm asking you. Have you seen him before?
How should I know? You haven't told me who he is.
Take a look at the photo.
Yeah, okay.
Now, have you seen him before?
No.
Да, чудаковатый ты парень.
Take a look at this red nose.
Are you a policeman?
No, this is a clown's nose, not a policeman's.
Так.
What does this tissue suggest to you?
You have a cold. What you need is vitamin C.
Да.
Would you like to shake my hand?
Not until I'm washed, if you don't mind, sir.
Would this tool be any use to you?
No, sir. Mr. Shiny has no user-serviceable parts. Whatever that means.
Do you recognize this matchbook?
You should never, ever play with matches.
I know that, but...
People get hurt when they do. They end up in hospital, like the burger lady. She was so burned up, they didn't know whether to use bandages or onions.
Ха-ха.
Do you recognize this pass?
No, I don't. Should I?
No, but I wondered if you'd seen a stranger flashing it about.
No, sir. But if I had, Mr. Shiny would take care of him.
What do you think of this, Sam?
Oh, boy. What is it?
A priceless gemstone, found in a medieval castle in Ireland. Get me into Marquet's ward, and it's yours.
I don't wear jewellery.
If this gem was yours, you'd be able to buy 100 Mr. Shinies.
Don't be silly. There's only one Mr. Shiny.
Да.
See you later.
Yeah, take care now.
Забавный ты.
Hey now, you can't go in there.
How come?
I'm responsible for the contents of that cupboard.
Так, а это что у нас?
As I tugged the plug out of the socket, the polishing machine coughed, spluttered, and died.
Mr. Shiny, what's wrong, pal?
А мы, получается, можем в кладовку попасть. А, нет, можем вот. Отлично. Это нам пригодится. О, он ничего не заметил? Да, странно ты. Так, давайте двигаться дальше. Нам, наверное, туда.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Oh, hi. Is this Ward J2?
Yes, sir. The patients are ready for your inspection, Doctor.
Thank you, nurse.
You'll need this, Doctor.
She gave me a long, narrow metal box and a stunning smile. Thanks.
Could you take a look at the client in bed number 3 now? His name is Eric Sopmarsh.
Давайте спросим.
Do you have any clowns on the ward?
Why, yes, we do. A professional clown.
I'll bet he lightens the place up.
Hardly. Monsieur Boissy has been in a coma for the last 3 months.
Оу.
What's wrong with Boissy?
He was involved in a very nasty accident. A silly stunt involving a unicycle. His current condition is due to post-traumatic shock. It's unlikely he'll ever perform as a clown again.
It's an ill wind that blows nobody any good.
Да уж.
Do you have a patient named Marquet on this ward?
Oui, monsieur. He is in the private room at the end of the ward. He has been placed in strict isolation.
Отлично.
Why is Marquet in quarantine?
If you wish to know more, you'll have to speak to Herr Hagenmeier. All I know is that Marquet's room is strictly out of bounds.
А нам бы туда стоило попасть.
Do you know who paid for Marquet's room?
No, of course I don't.
Preferential treatment like that must cost an arm and a leg.
That's not my concern, monsieur.
Would you like to shake hands with me?
Well,
No, it's okay. Forget it. Would you like to shake hands with...
well...
No, it's okay.
Ага, понятно. Ну, мало ли. Можно было ее разыграть.
Does this gem mean anything to you?
It's beautiful, but I've never seen it before.
What is this device?
It's for taking the patient's blood pressure, doctor.
Думаю, после этого вопроса она усомнилась в наших способностях врача.
Do you know Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No, I don't.
Does this mean anything to you?
The Club Alamut? I've never heard of it.
Does this tool mean anything to you?
I don't recognize it.
Do you recognize this tissue?
No, I don't. It looks like a chronic health risk to me.
Well, I've been carrying it around for days and I'm okay.
Да. Так, не хочешь?
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I don't.
Is this plaster any use to you?
No, it isn't.
Так, ну ладно.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Так, от нас вон больные чего-то хотят. Ну, хоть и понятно чего, но все же. Давайте поговорим.
Hello? Anybody home?
Who are you?
My name is Dr. Stobart, and I'm here to steer you down the rocky road to recovery.
Dr. Monroe said there was no cure for what I've got.
Your problem is you stayed in bed too long.
Are you sure you're a qualified doctor?
You better believe it.
Ох, Джош, поосторожней на поворотах.
What can you tell me about Marquet?
He's the man in the private room, isn't he? That room was mine before I was tossed out like a common squatter.
Do you know what's wrong with Marquet?
They won't even say what's wrong with me. Tell me, Doctor, what's your opinion?
It's too early to say.
But I've been here for 3 months.
Ну, медицина требует времени.
What's your impression of Nurse Grendel?
She's a very efficient young woman.
Efficient? You make her sound like a vacuum cleaner.
I've no complaints.
The woman in reception described Nurse Grendel as a monster.
Well, that's simply not true. She's quite strict, but that's her job, isn't it? You've got to have discipline in a place like this.
Maybe not.
Ну да, жалко пациента будет и...
Does this gem mean anything to you?
No, Doctor.
Have you any idea what this is?
No, Doctor. I wouldn't even like to guess.
I'm going to take your blood pressure.
Why?
I'm a doctor. It's my job. Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Мы учимся. Мы начинающий доктор.
Have you heard of a guy called Merlin?
No, Doctor.
Have you ever heard of the Club Alamut?
I'm not really a nightclub man, Doctor.
Do you know what this tool is used for?
I'd rather not, Doctor.
Do you know what this is?
It looks like plaster.
Это точно.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, Doctor. Who is it?
A cold-blooded killer.
Ты что ж так пациента-то шокируешь?
Do you recognize this red nose?
Doesn't that belong to Boissy?
No. I found it in a sewer.
He's a clown, you know. You wouldn't think so to look at him now, would you?
Так,
Come back later.
так, ну давайте двигаться. Ага, так, сюда нам точно не пройти.
Doctor!
What is it?
You haven't taken my blood pressure.
Seems fine to me.
You're not doing it right.
Of course I am.
No, you're not. Dr. Monroe never did it like that.
I can't take a satisfactory reading while you're excited like this. I'll come back later.
Правильно, правильно. Смекалистый.
Oh, Doctor.
Да что ж тебе
What
надо?
now?
You didn't finish taking my blood pressure.
Ты издеваешься? Мы ж только что это сделали.
Okay, let's try again.
You don't have the first idea what you're doing, do you?
I'll come back when you've recovered your manners.
Похоже, этот дед нас еще успеет достать. Да,
You haven't finished taking my blood pressure.
да ты достал уже.
Will you keep quiet? You're disturbing the other patients.
I'll keep quiet when you've taken my blood pressure properly.
I have to see Jacques Marquet first.
How come he gets preferential treatment? It's because he's got money, isn't it?
I'll come back when you've dealt with that chip on your shoulder.
Давай, давай, не подним... Тебе руку надо отрезать.
You haven't finished taking my blood pressure.
Капец.
Will you keep quiet? You're disturbing the other patients.
I'll keep quiet when you've taken my blood pressure.
I have to see Jacques Marquet first.
How come? It's because...
I'll come back. You dealt
Все ясно, нас не пускают туда, и поэтому мы должны удрать. Ай-яй-яй-яй-яй-яй. Так, мы оттуда пришли. Ну, пойдемте туда. Стоп, а мы же здесь были... Стоп, а в чем прикол? Это разве одно и то же пойти туда и туда? Так, давайте в этот раз туда пойдем. Да, попали мы. Так, мы сюда пришли. Здесь были. Так, ну пойдемте. Поболтаем с доктором. Так, а тебя ж вроде раньше не было.
Aha! Just the man. You must be the new boy.
Yeah, I must be.
Well, stop wandering about and make yourself useful. Bonnie, come here, boy. This is Benoit, my nephew. Can I trust you to look after him?
У нас, похоже, нет выбора.
He is fresh out of medical school. It will open his eyes to see a real doctor on the job.
I'll bet.
Show him around. Let him see some real.
Настоящую боль. Жизнь — это боль, сын мой. Стоп. А вот и ты, наш дорогой друг. Стой, я хотел с тобой поговорить. Сюда иди.
Hi, my name's George Stobart.
Yes, sir.
So what's your name, kid?
Benoit. They call me Bunny.
Bunny? Jeez, and you don't mind?
Oh, I've gotten used to it.
Okay, Benoit, you're gonna help me.
Anything you say, sir.
От души.
Do you
Так.
know anything about a patient named Marquet?
And no, sir, I don't know much about any of the patients.
I've never met a doctor who admits that he's only human.
I'm only a trainee, sir. I'm sure I'll get the hang of things.
Это точно.
Do you know the nurse on Ward J2?
No, miss. This is my first day here. I can't wait to get my hands dirty. I was talking about treating my first patient, of course. I didn't mean I'd get my hands dirty with a nurse.
Shut up, Benoit.
Okay, sir.
Грязные делишки? Ах ты же извращенец.
Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
Ну пошли, Бенуа. Банни. Так, вот у нас есть скандальный пациент, а ты же у нас
Hey,
доктор.
Benoit.
Yes, sir.
Here, take this pressure gauge.
Thank you, sir. What do you want me to do with it?
Well, keep it safe until I think of something.
А что тут думать-то?
Follow me, Benoit.
I'm right behind you, sir.
Так,
Pardon me, nurse.
Oui, monsieur.
так. Нет.
Thank you, nurse.
Au revoir, monsieur.
Давай с тобой поколдуем. Пойди ж, интернет должен помочь.
Hi, me again. I'll come back later.
You haven't finished taking my blood pressure.
Достал ей-богу.
Will you keep quiet? You're disturbing the other patients.
I'll keep quiet when you've taken my blood pressure.
I have to see Jacques Marquet.
How come he? It's because...
I'll come back.
Понятно.
Hey, Benoit.
Yes, sir.
Да.
You still have that gauge I gave you?
Oh yes. What do you want me to do with it?
Ну, что значит, что делать?
Use it on Eric's Sopmarsh.
Okay.
Ну-с. Ты доволен? Давай бежим, пока он не передумал.
Rather you than me, pal.
I'm Dr. Stobart.
Bonjour, docteur.
А в чем, собственно, проблема?
Have you seen any suspicious characters on the ward?
Yeah, I have.
A gorilla and a weasel?
No, this was a tatty old bear.
How is the bear acting suspiciously?
Well, he was wearing a homburg.
Is that against the law?
No, but it's pretty weird for a bear.
Что? Медведь в больнице?
Have you heard of a guy called Marquet?
He's in quarantine, doc, right behind this here door.
Marquet is just the man I wanted to see.
I wouldn't go in there if I was you. He has anthrax.
I have to visit my patient.
What for?
Routine. I have to check he's still breathing.
What if he's not?
I'll sign the certificate and register his bed as vacant.
That's a cold and distant attitude to death.
Well, I've been institutionalized to the point of godlike aloofness.
The white coat suits you.
Thanks.
Так.
Would you like to shake hands?
What for?
As a gesture of goodwill.
On reflection? No.
Да. Достали все. Чего вы все отказываетесь? Будьте мужиками, здоровайтесь за руку.
Do you recognize this gem?
It isn't an emerald, is it?
Yeah, I think so. Are you Thomas Merlin of Gruber Electronics?
No.
Then you won't be needing this. Have you ever heard of the Club Alamet?
No. It sounds Middle Eastern.
What do you think this tool is used for?
Branding mice without bending down.
Клеймить мышей, не нагибаясь?
Can you think of any sensible use for this plaster?
Sensible? No. Puerile? Yes. But you've probably thought of those already.
Do you recognize the man in this photograph?
No, I have never seen him before.
Do you recognize this red nose?
Don't get cute with me.
What does this tissue suggest to you?
It looks as if it has been used to wipe Satan's bottom.
I hate to say it, but you could be right. Catch you later, officer.
Au revoir, doc.
Да. Очень конструктивный диалог.
Marquet?
Yes, I am Marquet. I've been expecting you.
You have?
Well, what are you waiting for? Get it over with.
I just want to know what I should do with the gem.
The Lahmar gem.
Yeah, right here in my pocket.
I thought you were one of the assassins.
Not me. I never inhaled.
So, you were sent in my place.
Yeah. You could hardly make the trip to Ireland in your condition. What should I do with the gem?
Deliver it to the Grandmaster. Quickly tell him that I have found the tripod. Right here in Paris.
You have it?
Not yet, but it's being taken care of. I hired a couple of stooges with a flair for petty crime.
Would that be Flap and Guido by any chance?
You
know them as for Klausner. He has gone off to Syria on a wild goose chase.
They have geese in Syria?
He has a theory about the location of the...
That's enough excitement for one day, Monsieur Marquet. What are you doing here?
Talking to this patient, of course.
Monsieur Marquet is my patient. If Herr Hagenmeyer was to hear that...
Okay, I'm going. I'd learned all I could from Marquet anyhow.
Ah, there you are, sir. I was just coming to look for you. I finished with your pressure gauge.
Thanks, Bunny.
What's that noise? It sounds as if someone's having a cardiac arrest.
It's all right. The doctor's in there with him.
Are you sure he was a doctor?
Oui, monsieur. He showed me his ID. It was Dr. Braille.
There's no Dr. Braille working here.
He's an imposter.
Ох ты ж, вот поворот.
The door's locked. Help me, officer.
Stand back, monsieur.
Вот так поворот.
Hello, George.
Привет, Николь. Привет.
I found Jacques Marquet.
Did he talk?
Yeah, he talked. For the very last time.
He's dead.
Yeah. Killed in cold blood by a bogus doctor.
That's despicable. What kind of guy would pass himself off as a doctor and take advantage of a dying man? Was it Khan?
No, I don't know who he was, but it certainly wasn't Khan. He got away, out the window. Have you ever heard of the Hashi Ashin?
No.
Marquet said that they were his biggest enemy.
His biggest enemy was the bogus doctor.
Don't remind me. That guy was evil. He had wild, staring eyes like a dead fish. I'll never trust a doctor again.
Да уж, неприятный врач. Профессиональный убийца.
Do you think the assassin was responsible for killing Marquet?
I don't think so. He could have finished him off the first time. Besides, Marquet would have recognized him.
He was pumped to the gills with sedatives. He wouldn't have recognized the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse unless they'd introduced themselves.
Так, ну, видимо, этот прибор нам еще пригодится.
No way.
Ну, как хочешь.
I guess I'd better go back and talk to that weirdo.
Which one, Rosso or Sergeant Mou? Oh, were you referring to Andre?
I'll let you work it out.
На размышления публики, говоришь. Так. Что ж, давайте тогда на этом и завершим нашу сегодняшнюю серию. С вами была рубрика «Давайте подумаем». До новых встреч!